evening, leadership council, city manager, city attorney, and the rest of the audience. I'm going to give a short on what they propose on the alcohol ordinance.
No, that's here.
That's later. This is a public hearing, so the millage rate.
All right.
10 minutes. Before I close the millage rate hearing, I just want to state this in defense of my counsel. This millage rate that was proposed is not a done deal. They have not voted on it, so I resent you accusing them of already voting on it. It's not a done deal. It's a proposed millage rate, as the city manager explained to us, that it's better to post a higher millage rate because we can't go up, we can only go down. So until the council votes on the millage rate, then we'll know what it is. The proposed millage rate is 17.95. That's proposed. It has not been approved or voted on as of yet. So I'm officially closing the public hearing for the millage rate increase. And the next on the agenda is to vote to adopt the 2012 proposed millage rate. It's up to the council now.
I'd like to make a motion that we vote to accept the 17.95 mill increase. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussions?
I'll make the statement that I made the last time we discussed this in the work session, is that the goal is to try to bring in the same amount of money. It's not to try to bring in more money from each person. And I dare say that most people that I know have seen a decrease in their property value over the last year. So I know personally I will actually be paying less, despite the fact that it's gone up. My house is, I'm going to have to pay somebody to buy my house.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have a motion and a second. And any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the council to adopt a resolution for the new alcohol fees.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this and put it on the agenda for the next work session.
Second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to table. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
I'd like discussion.
Oh, okay.
I've got something like to say. We've gotten a couple of emails from the Clarkston Business Association representative. And I'd like to get a list, all of us, if you could send us a list of all the businesses in the business association. I'd like to do a little more research on this and talk to some of the business owners and let them know who they are. Maybe we can do a little research before we vote this increase and before we have the work session discussion on this.
I'd like to reiterate that and invite and encourage all business owners with pouring licenses and retail sales licenses to do the same, to contact me and to discuss your business and your concerns with me before we take this up again at next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the table? All opposed? Two opposed.
With postponement, is there still technically?
You're out of order. You're out of order.
Is there comment?
Sit down now.
City attorney?
Mr. Busey, sit down, or have the police department sit you down.
Jeez.
This is not a public hearing. You are out of order. Police.
Thank you, Spark. Okay, we're going to have the city attorney with our second read of the amendment to the alcohol ordinance.
Thank
you, Mr. Mayor. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 3 of the City of Clarkston's Code
regarding the sale of alcohol within the city of Clarkston.
Point of order. If you're gonna propose it, how you gonna have a second reading? Postpone.
This is an ordinance, this is not an increase in fees. And please stop blurting out. This is not a public hearing, as the city manager said. We're conducting business now. This is just an ordinance.
This is a different agenda item.
Totally.
This is an ordinance that addresses the rules and regulations for the sale at retail or the pouring in restaurants of alcohol in the city. And it is separate from how much the fee will be, because it's what are the rules. This is a rather lengthy ordinance, so I'm certainly not going to read it verbatim. It's been available here at City Hall, but I will pass over the highlights. We define restaurant to mean a place of business that has a kitchen for serving food, fills 75% of the building's usable square footage with tables intended for dining. A restaurant must be staffed and open to the public and offer food that is edible to the guest. A restaurant must derive 60% of its total annual gross sales from the sale of meals and food. Repealing several sections of the existing alcohol ordinance and replacing them. Section 3-4 will set out what's required of an applicant as far as information on their application, which will be obtained at City Hall. There is a requirement that a surveyor certify the distance between the proposed alcohol serving location and certain other uses of property, such as schools, churches, things of that nature. We have regulations regarding the consumption of alcohol on an open area or an outdoor patio or deck. Essentially, that you need to have it enclosed by a railing. It's subject to review by the city building official. We prohibit open containers in the city, prohibit brown bag establishments. Sales by the drink are only permitted at bona fide restaurants, and we discuss some of the requirements for establishing the business as in fact a restaurant as opposed to a bar. Set out the hours for package retailers and for consumption on the premises. Package sales within the city between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 midnight, Monday through Saturday, between the hours of 12:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. on Sunday. Sale of beverages for consumption on the premises are only allowed Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1:55 a.m. the following day, and Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2:50 a.m. the following day, and on Sunday from 1 p.m. until 1:55 a.m. on Monday morning. And there are certain rules about places where retail sales are not permitted and what the setup of the building has to be. You can have a separate entry devoted to the sale of distilled spirits. You need to have visibility for your location so that public safety officials can see inside from the outside. There's provisions for the production of records and auditing of those records. This is intended so that the city government will be able to determine whether a business selling alcohol is truly a restaurant or not, primarily. No retail dealer in packaged beer, malt beverage, or wine shall permit on his premises any slot machines or mechanical music boxes or pinball machines or any form of electronic or mechanical game machine or coin-operated device which might be used for entertainment or amusement purposes. Those are the substantive provisions of this ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Quinn. I need a motion.
I move that we place this proposal on the table in order to solicit more input from the regulated business community so that we can have this ready, discuss in more detail at the upcoming work session.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is planning and zoning.
Mr. Mayor and Council and Mr. City Manager, the planning and zoning had their meeting on June the 18th, and there were, the application for positive growth was acted upon on the sign permit. Clarkston International Bible Church had requested a sign permit, and that was approved. JV Investments over on East Ponce de Leon, 4122 East Ponce de Leon, was present and discussed their sign permit. They had already erected the sign, but just had not put any lettering on it. And, we explained, or the P&Z explained the process and approved the sign. There was a public hearing held on 4292 and 4300 East Ponce de Leon about rezoning the property from NR3 to RC. There was quite a bit of discussion. There was no site plan permitted. We did have a report from Pond and Company that it is said that it was consistent with the long-term plan for the city. While there was concerns about the proposal, there was no concern about the rezoning. Planning and zoning members had a lot of questions, and they tabled it until our next meeting so that Mr. Tedros can have perhaps a site plan for us or some better description of what's going on down there. Because on the surface, it does not meet the code in any kind of way, and there are a lot of issues before we get there. So that was tabled. We will have another public hearing at our next meeting.